Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user DearFerret9268. Would I be the a-hole if I don't give my late boyfriend's house to his parents? My boyfriend, 30 male, rest in peace, and I, 33 male, were together for 15 years. I was his senior in high school and we stayed together until a few months ago when he passed away due to bone cancer. I live in a traditional country where same-sex marriage is not legal but is not a big issue socially. His parents kicked him out when he came out as gay at 17. My family took him in, helped him to finish high school, and were supportive the most they could. I work in HR and he worked in IT. Since he started to work, he made good money. He saved enough to purchase a house 10 years ago. He was paying the mortgage all by himself. 4 years ago, he got the diagnosis. He reduced his working hours to take care of his health and I stepped in to pay the mortgage. It was a hard battle, but cancer took him 5 months ago. After he passed away, his family appeared in the picture, saying how they regretted not being in his son's life and stuff. Time went by and a month ago they reached out to me asking me when they can expect I could give them the keys of the house. Since same-sex marriage is not legal, they could claim the house as their family. I told them that the house was in my name. I bought it from him a year into the cancer, so it was legally mine and I had been paying the mortgage way before it. They got upset and said I was being unreasonable, that it should be legally theirs, that my boyfriend would have wanted to give them the house, which is in fact true. My boyfriend talked a lot how he would give everything to them if that would fix the relationship between them. Actually, he bought the house as a way to bring them to live with him so they would no longer rent. He also tried to make amends with them all this time, unsuccessfully. I told them I would give them the house for the price I bought it from my boyfriend and they would have to pay me back these 4 years of mortgage plus take the debt over their name. They said they didn't have the money and that it was so selfish of me to tell them that, knowing what my boyfriend would have wanted. They proposed just to change the debt onto their name and give me no money in return. I declined. They got mad and the discussion got heated to the point they told me they would bring me to court accusing me of scamming my boyfriend to have the house. They can't. They have been calling and texting me non-stop for the past month, telling me I would be an a-hole to my boyfriend if I don't give him the house. I know they can't pay me back all the money I put in the house, but I'm conflicted right now. Some friends told me that I should give them the house and move on with my life, but it just doesn't feel right to me. I'm leaning more onto not giving them the house, but I know my boyfriend would jump the bed to give it to them. Right now, their words feel empty, as if they just want to take advantage of the situation. I don't need the house, to be honest, but don't want to give it to them either. We never talked with my boyfriend what should I do with the house after his death. So, would I be the a-hole if I don't give him the house? You know what bothers me about this whole situation is that now they're trying to use your boyfriend's memory as if something he would have wanted. You know what he would have wanted? He would have wanted to have a relationship with those two a-holes. And now that he's gone after battling cancer for 4 years and apparently they didn't even send a postcard, now they're concerned about what he would have wanted and that you should honor his memory? They can go F themselves, honestly. If I was in your situation, OP, that from what I understand, you legally own the house and you don't have use for it, I would put it on the market. If they want the house so bad, well, they can put a bid in it like everybody else. I would also absolutely block any kind of communication with them and tell them if they want to tell me anything, they can do it through my lawyer. Otherwise, we have no relationship at all. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments. Things with String says, quote, my boyfriend talked a lot how he would give everything to them if that would fix the relationship between them, end quote. Not the a-hole. He would have given them the house in his life because he missed them that much. They refused to have anything to do with him, even when he was dying. If you give them the house now, then they benefit from him, even though they rejected him when alive. You keep the house because you're the one who loved your boyfriend. You owe his terrible family who kicked him out at 17 nothing. Wife of Bath 1984 says, not the a-hole. You don't find it at all suspicious that they didn't come around until after he died? I don't believe they regret anything. They just want his assets. I also don't believe your boyfriend would have wanted to give them the house. While he was alive, he would have done that to mend the relationship. But now there is no opportunity to mend the relationship. You really think he would want you to move out and give them the house? He loved you too, and I don't think you're thinking about that at all. You really should block their numbers and move on with your life. And Opie responds, actually, he always joked about how he would have a hard time if his parents asked him to break up with me in order to win their love back. He really was desperate for their love, and I know he would be conflicted too. I did find suspicious why they appeared until his death. That's why I don't find their words honest and what is keeping me from giving them the house. I don't need it. Thankfully, I also have an apartment that I bought with my own money, but the house means a lot to us to give it to them. Shishimi88 says, not the a-hole. Ignore them. Prepare a lawyer just in case. The house is legally yours. They're vultures. They didn't lift a finger during your cancer diagnosis. And Opie responds, thanks. Legally, they can do crap. I bought the house under the law's process and they can't sue me for an inch. He used almost all his money to pay his medical bills. I told them they could claim the remaining money if they want. I'm not touching a cent of my boyfriend's account, although I can, since I'm his beneficiary in the account and insurance. And Deleted says, tell them to publicly acknowledge him as gay and state how proud they were of him and how much they loved him, and you'll consider it, not the a-hole. And Opie responds, you bring me to tears right now. Actually, that would make him the happiest person in the world. Additional information from Opie's comments. We told them from the moment he got the diagnosis and they believed it was a scam to make them close again. Then I started to reach out to them to tell them how the treatment was going, and after 2 years they believed us. They only went to see him once and they didn't appear again until his funeral. It was hard since they were the ones who should have made the arrangements, but they didn't. I had to move earth and sky to make it happen. They went to his funeral a few hours later and left. They said they couldn't handle seeing his son being buried. I met them when we were at high school. They seemed like a lovely family. I can see why my boyfriend wanted their love back so hard. After they kicked him out, I never saw them again until last year. My boyfriend always texted them. He really wanted their love back. He tried to see them often, but they just met him at the door, and sometimes they let him in the house to talk. That's something I resent them for until today. Those suckers just talked to him at the front door. Opie's edit. We didn't live in the house. We lived in my apartment. That's why I don't need the house, but I just don't feel right to giving it to his parents. Also, almost all his money went to pay medical bills. He didn't want me to put my money on it, which obviously I would have, and buying the house was the best idea we came out with to satisfy the both of us. The house is not a big one, 6 meters by 10 meters, and also is in the suburbs. It's not worth the same as in other countries, around $90,000 or a little more. He had such a kind heart, so I'm pretty sure that even if it was a lie, he would have given them the house the moment they acknowledged him as gay and tell him they loved him. That's the reason why I'm having a hard time considering this. I can't answer all your comments, but I'm trying to read you all. Thank you. Thank you all for your kind words. I cried a lot with most of the comments. Just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and I think they gave him some pretty good ideas about what to do. I did like that last commenter. If they acknowledged their son, that's all that he wanted. Sure, I'd give him the house after that and just be done with him. In any case, let's now move on to the update to see how this story ends. First of all, thanks to all the people who replied and gave me some support. I really appreciate that. 8 months ago, when I posted this story, I was in a really bad place and everything was convoluted. I can't tell you how hard it was for me to get to a decision. A lot of people told me to take some time to think about it, but I really want to thank you for your comments. When I was logging out from Reddit back in the day, I saw a response and it lived rent-free in my head for almost a week. That helped me decide to take my time before making any decisions regarding the house. So I decided to wait until I felt I was able to think clearly. It took me a few months. It was hard. During this time, his parents kept bothering me with calls and emails about the house. They even hired a lawyer to talk to me about it, but my own lawyer told them all to F off. They hadn't any leg to stand on if that would have gone to a judge. Back in January, I finally felt able to make any decision. I told them that I was going to sell them the house for the original price my boyfriend bought it. I would still lose some money, but that was the best course of action for me, and that was my last offer. They refused it, telling me that I should be a better person and let them get the house for less. They didn't even dare to call me his boyfriend, just a person. So I decided to put the house on the market. Back in February, they reached out to me again, asking if my proposal was still on the table. I would have loved to tell them no, but I know my boyfriend wanted them to live there. So I told them yes, but they had to decide within a week. It wasn't necessary. They accepted right away. So I let my lawyer handle the selling. I didn't want to see them anymore. I got surprised when my lawyer handed me a photo book of him as a kid and a preteen. Looks like it was their way of trying to acknowledge their son's life. It's the only thing for what I'm grateful for to them. A few weeks ago was my boyfriend's 1-year memorial. They didn't show up, so I can move on with my life without them bothering me no more. Thanks again for all the comments and DMs. You guys are awesome. Well, OP, it's not necessarily what I would have done, but if this brings you peace, then that's the right thing to do. I'm not gonna give them props for the photo album. It doesn't make what they did to him right. But again, you're at peace with this, OP, so here's wishing you the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user particularfarm9295. Am I the a-hole for not supporting my partner's desire to be a stay-at-home mom when I supported my ex's desire to be a stay-at-home mom? I, 44 male, have been dating a woman, 35 female, for 2 years. I have 3 kids, 18 male, 16 female, and 14 male from a previous relationship. My girlfriend has none. We have discussed moving in together and starting to have kids, both of which I fully support. But she is now indicating that she would want to be a stay-at-home mom. She mentioned it for the first time last week, and I guess I made some facial reaction. She asked me what was wrong, and I downplayed it. Last night was a weekly date night. I was just completely honest with her about my feelings on it. I generally do not like either parent being stay-at-home. I think parents who are stay-at-home are high risk to lose themselves in their kids. I think it is generally better for kids to spend time around other kids who are not family. I believe it creates a social financial dependence of the stay-at-home parent on the other parent, and it can create guilt for the working parent if they express they are unhappy. She brought up the fact that my ex was a stay-at-home mom for 8 years. I told her I was young and stupid and would never agree to such an agreement now. Plus, financially, my ex being stay-at-home made sense because she did not make enough to justify the considerable cost of childcare. That is not the case with my girlfriend, who is an engineer with a PhD. She brought up that we could easily afford to live our life on my income alone, which is true, but I still oppose it for the reasons I outline. Well, as you can probably guess, she is pretty pissed off that I am completely opposed to the idea and our date ended on less than good terms. So I am wondering if there is something I am missing. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, personally, I don't think you're an a-hole. I don't think she's an a-hole because you both want different things. And I actually think it's a good thing that this happened now, before you guys got married or moved in together. This is the right conversation to have while you're dating because it could very well be a deal breaker for the both of you. And also, the argument that your ex was a stay-at-home mom is irrelevant to the discussion you're having with your girlfriend. So no, OP, again, I think there are no a-holes here. I think you guys need to talk whether this is a deal breaker or not and make a decision upon that. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Miserable Fondant 82 says, not the a-hole, but she thinks she's either not as good as your ex if you let the ex be a stay-at-home mom but won't even consider letting her, or she thinks she's being punished because of your ex taking advantage of you somehow, and thinks that's not fair to her. So you're likely to have a hard time working through this. It's good to have gotten this conversation over with now because she clearly thought you were on the other side of this spectrum because of your history with your ex. This is a pretty fundamental issue to not be on the same page about. Internal Ice 1244 says, no a-holes here. You've had your experience of having kids and supporting your ex-partner when she was a stay-at-home mom. Your girlfriend has never experienced that and wants to have the ability to make this choice. If it's a non-negotiable boundary for you, then you are not compatible. Considering the age gap and the life experience, you are very far from being on the same page. Millicent Queen says, not the a-hole. Neither of you are wrong, you're just incompatible. You've had your kids and your experience is valid, but that doesn't mean her desire isn't. Don't waste any more time dating each other. If you have kids, she'll be resentful she can't stay home or resentful of you not supporting her staying at home and you'll be miserable. Staying at home was the best decision I ever made and it cost me, but I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I truly believe it gave me the opportunity to be the best mom for my kids. I didn't know I wanted that until I saw my baby. That's not an option for most and not a desire for many. I got lucky. Your experience is from the father's side, which is completely different than the mom's. She deserves a chance to have that. End things. She's 35 and it gets harder. Let her go so she can find a partner with the same values. Starry Dust 4444 says, I don't understand why you're on board with starting over and having more children but would rather have daycare workers and other children raise them? Your reasons for not wanting a woman to stay home to care for her children are silly in my opinion. You think stay-at-home moms lose themselves in their kids? Just what the hell are you talking about? This makes me think you didn't take much of an active role in raising your 3 existing children. I would recommend you not cohabitate. You didn't mention marriage and have any more kids. I don't think you know what the hell you are doing in that department at all. Judging by your girlfriend's level of education and area of study, I assume she's an intelligent woman. I sincerely hope this conversation opened her eyes to just how horrible of a choice you would be for a partner and a co-parent. She needs to toss you back and find someone less selfish, arrogant, and clueless. Additional information from OP's comments. We are not married. We are dating and have separate finances and plan to keep it that way if we get married. Being a stay-at-home mom is a recent desire of hers. She did not want this before, but now she wants it. She plans to focus 100% of her energy on being a mom. Her words. Until the children are 5 years old at least. Beyond that, she does not have any specific plans for how she would function as a stay-at-home mom. I proposed working part-time, starting a business, etc. She would get 15 weeks of maternity leave at her current job, another 4 weeks of personal time off she could use, and after that, she would be entitled to FMLA leave, which is unpaid. And yes, this has all been verified with the employer, but her plan would be to use the leave, then quit. Alright, well, the majority of the community agree that this may be an incompatibility problem and that they should end the relationship. And OP gave us some context about his girlfriend's plans and since when she's wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. About a month after my post, my now ex-girlfriend and I spent the weekend together discussing all of our perspectives. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom a minimum of 5 years. She emphasized she may decide she wants longer, but at minimum 5 years. I proposed a compromise of doing it for 30 months and then seeing where we are. That was not acceptable to her. So I told her we are incompatible and should break up. She was upset but understood. Around Valentine's Day, she reached out to me and said she can compromise on the issue. I told her I thought it was best that we remain broken up. This past week, I got a very angry text message talking about how you wasted my time, you piece of crap. I have officially blocked her, so that is where things are. Well, OP, it ended up being a deal breaker regardless of what happened after that. You guys not being together, I think, is the best choice here. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.